What's going on, all you gangly gamers? It's me, Onion Creature. I've returned from the depths, and today is a big day to talk about a small thing. That small thing being the Kirby series of Nanoblocks. Take a gander. It's Kirby in block form. I have a few block-related objects that I like, including Lego things. There's a few videos on the channel about Lego products because I enjoy them as a hobby. And one of the things that you might know about Lego is that it has a lot of imitators. You got your Mega Blocks, your Connects. There's the billions of knockoffs, and they're basically all terrible. And I think the only one which I have encountered that I actually think provides some uniqueness and value beyond being a worse version of the product it's based on is Nanoblocks. I actually have a few Nanoblock things that I had before the Kirby thing came out, like this Pikachu, Totodile. They're kind of nice. They're not the most amazing products, but they work as they intended, and they provide a distinct experience because they're so goddamn minuscule. I think they're able to be challenging without being exorbitantly expensive, because the thing about Lego sets is they're all pretty easy to build, which is a good thing generally, but sometimes you want something that'll give you a bit of challenge, and if you want that, you're gonna have to pay a lot of money. With Nanoblocks, you get some of that challenge for a bit cheaper, and they don't take up as much space, which, you know, is a thing to consider when you're collecting these things, because they do take up space. And with the Nanoblocks, you can get some of the intricacy of the bigger Lego sets in a smaller form factor. So they're the only real Lego clone that I find any degree of value in, really, generally speaking. And so I was pretty interested and excited when I saw that they were releasing a Kirby line of Nanoblock figures. This was announced last year and sort of released late last year / early this year. The rollout of them is, I don't know how it works, it's weird. This is the only time I've really waited for a Nanoblock product to release. Not fully sure how the mechanics are working out over there. But anyway, I got them, I picked them up, I built them, and it was fun. These are being sold in blind bags, I think. But the way I got them was I got this, let me grab it. This box, which just has all 6, that's preferable for me. I don't want to deal with blind bags if I don't have to, and the only way they were selling them in the US that I saw was in that box. So here we are, and I have all 6 of the things, and we're going to talk about them now. Generally speaking, I am pleased. I enjoy this. I've always wanted a Kirby Lego set, and you know, not the most likely thing to occur anytime soon at the very least. There is the LEGO Ideas Kirby project, which is still gathering support and could make it to the supporter threshold to be considered to be made as a product, but the likelihood of that happening is pretty low. Lego is pretty selective in the ideas review process, and so I wouldn't necessarily count on Kirby making the cut necessarily, though I would obviously love that. So this is what we have for now, is these Nanoblocks. For the time being, I'm satisfied with this. I think these are cool. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty of them. You get 3 different variants of Kirby, which it feels appropriate. Obviously, getting more characters also would have been nice, but the main appeal of the Kirby series is, of course, the man himself. And I do like the variants, and they're the only ones with face prints. So first of all, we have standard smiling Kirby, just in his standard pose. It's just good. It works. I like it. Then we have inhaling Kirby, who's a bit taller and has his mouth wide open and is ready to inhale. Lastly, we have the floating Kirby, which is actually surprisingly stable. It's held up by a few clear bricks. It looks like he's floating, and he's got his mouth closed in that familiar expression for when Kirby's floating. Looks good too. I'm a fan. And then we get our non-Kirby characters, which is an interesting selection, which I'll get into. We have Waddle Dee, which is pretty similar to the build of Kirby, just with the Waddle Dee components, and the mouth goes out a bit, which feels correct. And he's, I'm looking at him, he's a little bit shorter than Kirby. And then we have Kracko, who came across pretty well. They get the whole shape of him and his different yellow spikes. I will say this construction does have a flaw in that the yellow spikes can come off fairly easily if you're holding it. I noticed like yesterday that one of the yellow spikes on the bottom had just fallen off somewhere. I have no idea where. It could be anywhere. It's so goddamn small. Fortunately, there are spare parts included, so I was able to dig through those and find a replacement for it. But yeah, watch this guy. He's a mischievous one. Literally, as I'm talking, just the same kind of piece just came off. So yeah, keep a watchful eye on this thing. It'll mess with you. He's also definitely the least stable, which is probably forgivable. That maybe they should have given him a little more like under support, like put a few clear bricks in there. Probably would have worked. And lastly, we have Meta Knight, who I'd say is probably the most intricate of these characters. You know, they got all the Meta Knight things you'd want. He's got his gloves and with the sort of metal things on him. He has his sword and his cape and all that. And I like this one. He's nice. Sword is obviously, you know, prone to coming off if you so desire. It's not that hard to do that. So that's all 6 of these figures, and I'm pleased. As I said, you know, I would say the major omission here is King DDD. If I were selecting characters from Kirby to turn into block form, King DDD would definitely be on the top of the list, and I think the issue here would definitely be scale. These are all approximately the same size, and King DDD would probably have to be somewhat larger. They could have, I guess, made a scaled down King DDD that would have fit alongside these guys, but also you would be sacrificing a lot of detail to fit King DDD into the same size as like a Kirby figure. King DDD is, broadly speaking, one of the more elaborate Kirby character designs, just compared to Kirby and Waddle Dee. The omission is like unfortunate, but understandable. So I'm not going to be too critical about that specific omission, though it is unfortunate. And I guess just one of the limitation of the blind bag formats is that you can't do that. But that brings us to our next point. Hope they make more Kirby Nanoblocks. They're fun. It's very cool to get like a tangible Kirby brick-built object that is an official product. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention is that they all have copyrights on the back of them. Like they all have a specific printed. I think it's like a 1x3 or I think 1x3 or 1x4 piece that has copyright N/H, which I am assuming is copyright Nintendo/HAL. That seems likely, but I haven't noticed that on any of the other Nanoblocks I have. I don't know if that's a new thing or if it's specifically for Kirby. Like his Totodile, he doesn't have any copyrights on him. So I don't know what the deal with that is. It's kind of weird. I didn't know that about before getting them, and it was a strange thing to discover. I've never seen that on like any brick-built product, so it was fairly weird. It's not the worst thing ever, and if you don't want them, you could just flip them around and use the piece unprinted, and it wouldn't have that weird copyright. I'd left them on because I don't know, why not? But if you, for some reason, don't want them there, you could choose to omit it fairly easily. Either way, it's a strange thing to have there. Was not expecting it, at least. Anyhow, Kirby's got a big year. We're having a game in March 25th, a huge new game coming out, and presumably even more stuff on the horizon for the 30th anniversary. I'm going to be continuing to make videos on future Kirby objects and products and video games, so I'll be back soon again with more video content. My favorite thing to do is to make video content for you, the viewer, so come back soon and we'll discuss grand things of the greatest importance, and until then, I'll leave. Can't think of a funny thing to do. I was gonna do something funny, but I couldn't think of anything to do. Probably gonna just cut.